Hello, I'm Daniel. I was reading from a text recently called Complete Enlightenment. It is Master Sheng Yen's translation and commentary of a text called the Sutra of Complete Enlightenment. And this is a really dense text. If you're not into really dense Buddhist texts, I would not recommend reading it. But if you are, I think it's very good. But anyway, towards the end, in almost the final chapter, there is, in the commentary by Master Sheng Yen, there is a very good and helpful quote that really meant a lot to me when I read it. So I wanted to share it with you. So I'm going to read it to you now. So this is Master Sheng Yen speaking. He says, ideally, one should be like a glass filled with colored water. No matter what the water may look like, the glass remains unaffected. Most people, however, are like a piece of cloth, absorbing the paints and stains that fall on it. Most people, when confronted by a problem that has nothing to do with them, make it their own. I'm going to read that again. I think it's really powerful. Ideally, one should be like a glass filled with colored water. No matter what the water may look like, the glass remains unaffected. Most people, however, are like a piece of cloth, absorbing the paints and stains that fall on it. Most people, when confronted by a problem that has nothing to do with them, make it their own. I really like that quote. And again, it's by Master Sheng Yen, who I think he's one of the best Buddhist teachers that traveled from the East to the West in the last century. He's one of my favorites, and he was really good at relating to Western people in the modern world, which not a lot of these old-timey teachers were. But anyway, so what's he talking about here, right? Like a glass filled with colored water. Are we like a glass filled with colored water, or are we like a dirty rag that picks up everything you clean with it, right? So I think most of us are like a dirty rag. What do I mean by that? What does Sheng Yen mean by that? It means that we are carrying around crap with us. We are carrying around crap with us, such as if one person says kind of a rude thing to you and it ruins your day. That's a really small example of just being a towel and you're just wiping up the stain of that person being kind of rude and it ruins your day. That is what we are like. We carry around emotional baggage all the time, from big things that happen to us and from little things that happen to us. And we often are affected if we go to if, for example, in our workplace, we're surrounded by people who are unhappy, who are cranky all the time. It's really hard for us not to take that on. It's really hard for us to be the one smiling person in the office full of really negative people, right? So we're like a towel that's used to wipe up stains. It takes on some of the nature of the stain. And what Sheng Yen is suggesting, what I want to suggest, is that what we want to learn how to do is be like a glass that's filled with colored water, i.e., no matter what's in the glass is not fundamentally changed by it. It is still a glass, even though, the glass will need to be cleaned, of course, but it's not stained like a towel because we're talking about a real stain. We're talking about something you carry around for a long time. And so what Sheng Yen is telling us is we have this ability. We can be in the world and not be dragged around by everything that we encounter. We can be in the world and not always carry baggage from everything that happens to us. We can get cut off in traffic and not only not shout and be mad in the moment, but also not carry that with us, because I think that happens a lot of the time, especially from a traffic standpoint. If we get cut off in traffic, we might be driving erratically and we might actually get in an accident. So that's a pretty quick and immediate reaction to that, right? But we do that all the time. We if we go somewhere and we're surrounded by really negative people, we take some of that on. So I do want to challenge you to make sure you're spending time with positive people. Not to say you should cut all the negative people out of your life, but make sure you're spending time with people that encourage you, that are positive, that bring growth and joy into your life, and not just spend time with people that maybe don't do those things. Because we're like a towel that wipes up stains, and we will take on the nature of those people if we're around people that are really negative all the time. And so that can be really important too. But what we want to learn how to do is ultimately not carry any of that with us, and just be present and just be ourselves and just be in the moment, and not get sort of changed by our environment, not get changed by the people around us. That's ultimately what we want to do. But the little change we can make is making sure we spend good time with positive people. And the last part of the quote, the part where he said, people make problems their own that have nothing to do with them. That was the part that really inspired me to talk about this, because that is something that I think I see all the time. And my big example for that is the way I see people argue on Facebook. And I don't want to talk about Facebook all the time, but people seem to always have a big and strong opinion about things that don't affect them and that have nothing to do with them. And I'm not going to talk about political views, except to say that people have big opinions about things that don't affect them, that they can't change, and therefore they get really negative and hateful towards each other, and I hate that. And that's what people are doing. They're making things that aren't their problems. They're taking those things on and making them their problems. And that's not to say we shouldn't try to make things better for the world. Of course we should. But at the same time, we don't need to get torn apart, and we don't need to pick fights with each other over things that have nothing to do with us, that we have no control over. We certainly don't need to be arguing with each other all the time. And I have that disease, and I really don't like it. But sometimes when I see something on Facebook and I see, oh, this person is really wrong, I've got to say something. I have that disease. I have that problem sometimes. And it's not helpful to me. And there's no satisfaction. There's no moment where someone says, oh, you convinced me, right? That never happens. So it's useless. I'm taking something that has nothing to do with me and I'm making it my problem. And that sucks. It's a waste of time and energy. And really, it's just ultimately frustrating. So, and Master Sheng Yen passed before the rise of the internet. I don't think he could have predicted social media, but he saw things like gossip, right? He saw things like people arguing over the dinner table and things like that. And that's sort of the same kind of thing. It's been elevated with social media now. We have lots of opportunities to argue with each other, but I think gossip also is a way that we take something and we make it our problem. We make it our problem. We create drama where there's no drama for us. And that's also not helpful. That's might as well be the same as arguing on Facebook. We need to stop creating drama. We need to stop creating problems, taking other people's problems and making them our problems. So that's what I have to say about that. We don't want to make problems our own. We want to focus more so on what's in front of us. Because ultimately, what's in front of us is what we have power over. What's in front of us is what we have power over. And I'm going to read that line one more time because I found it. Most people, when confronted by a problem that has nothing to do with them, make it their own. I see people get so mad about problems that have nothing to do with them. People get so mad and they decide that they really don't like other people. And they argue and they hate and they get upset and they cry and I don't like it. So I want to put this challenge to you to spend a day tomorrow. I want you to try to spend tomorrow not making a problem your own. Or I guess the next time you see a problem, if it's got nothing to do with you, don't make it your own. Focus on, we would all be better served to use our energy to focus on what's right in front of us and not obsess about things that we can't do anything about. And to not gossip. And my secondary challenge for you is to go to your office or to your school or to wherever you go that there are people. And just be the really positive, mindful person. And if you see people that are cranky and sad all the time, I think we all have jobs where we see people that are cranky and sad all the time. Don't be that. Don't be that. Just keep your joy and try to live that way. So that's all I've got for today. I hope this talk has been helpful. And again, the book I read from was called Complete Enlightenment by Master Sheng Yen. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me.